Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, whichever it might be, whatever time it might be that you're watching this. This is Zearn Module 3, Lesson 5 for 3rd grade. The objective of this lesson is I can count by units of 7 to multiply and divide using number bonds to decompose. This is a Louisiana math standard. That's 3OAC07. This objective is really intended to ultimately be used in mental math. But when you are starting out with this and you're working with your skip counting your sevens, it really needs to be done on paper so that the students can actually start to kind of understand and see what's happening with the numbers, and it will help them eventually where they can just simply do this in their head. Let's go ahead and get started. You notice here I wrote down fluency. We're not going to do a fluency activity in the video. I just recommend that you work with skip counting by your 5s and 6s at this point, because today we're going to be working with 7s. Students should at this point already be familiar with their 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and their 6s. And now they should really be working on their 7s. And so hopefully today's this lesson will help them with that. Let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, this is going to be a mental strategy. So students should be familiar with the term and the use of number bonds and decomposing. The concept that we're going to be doing with the number bonds and decomposing is that we're simply going to be trying to make quick tens out of our numbers. And a quick 10 is simply, let me write that here, quick 10. That's just any digits that you can quickly identify that total up to a 10. So for example, a 1 and a 9 is a quick 10. A 2 and an 8 is a quick 10. And you see the pattern. We're just simply looking for any 2 digits that equal 10. And so I will just go ahead and finish this. 4 and 6 equal 10. 5 and 5 equal 10. And since we already have 6 and a 4, 7 and 3, 8 and 2, 9 and 1, that's all of them. All right. So we're going to be using this strategy, this quick 10 method, to quickly break apart and add numbers together. So let's see that in action. Well, when we're going to be skip counting, today is by our 7s. If we say we're going to skip count by our 7s 6 times, that means we're going to have 6 numbers skip counted by 7, starting with 7. And then we're going to have a second one, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and then a 6th. So if we take a look at the strategy, we begin with the first 7. We are then going to add a second 7 to that to skip count with. That's 1 and then 2. Well, the quick 10 strategy and using number bonds lets me break the second 7 down into 2 parts. Number bonds, for those that are not really up on them or familiar with them, I'm going to have a whole number of 7. I can break that 7 into 2 smaller parts, such as a 3. And then I ask myself, what is the other number that I add to 3 that's going to give me the 7? And that's 4. So think of making change. Maybe you got $7 and you're going to split that between maybe 2 people. Well, $3 going to you. That means I got 4 left to give to the other person. So think of it that way. And I'm going to erase that because it's going to get in the way here in just a second. So if we come back here, we got 7. The first 7, let me change my ink here. The first 7, this will be the second 7. So 7 plus 7, I'll break the second 7 into a 3 and a 4. Why did I choose 3 and 4? That's because I'm trying to find the other quick 10 part that makes this 7 a 10. And since we know that 3 plus 7 is a quick 10, that's why I need one of these parts to be a 3. So I'm actually going to be doing 7 plus 3 equals 10. And because I did a number bond here, I still have 4 that we've not used. Well, this is where I'm going to take that 10 that I just created and add the 4 to it and get 14. And quick tens is simply a quick number, not only to create, but they're easy to work with. You can add any single digit number to a 10 very quickly by simply replacing the 0 with that single digit. So mentally, that is actually a fast method for adding. Faster is just simply knowing it on sight, but this is a strategy to build knowledge. That's 2 7s that we skip counted by. We said we want to do it by 6. So now we need to do a third 7. So we're going to take the 14 that we just created with the second 7, and we're going to add the third 7. Now quickly, I can identify that 4 plus the 7 is going to be more than 10. So I definitely can create a quick 10 here. So again, I'm going to break the 7 into 2 parts. And the thought is, what number do I need to break the 7 down to that's going to make my 14 become 20? And that, of course, is going to be a 6. And then 6 plus 1 gives me the full 7. So now I'm going to repeat the steps I just did in the first part. I'm going to add the 14 plus the 6, and that is going to give me 20. And then I'm going to take that 20 and add the 1 from my number bond, and that will give me a total of 21. So my second number my skip counting was the 14, and my third one is 21. And it's a matter of repeating the process of breaking down your number bond into 2 digits and creating quick tens. Now, here is going to be a situation for the fourth 7 that is going to be different. If I take the 21 plus a fourth 7, 7 plus the 1 is not going to get me a quick 10. That's only going to equal 8. So this would be a situation where you don't use the decomposing or the number bond method to get a quick 10 because you're not going to get one. So you simply add the 7 to the 1 to get 28. And so that is our fourth 7. I'm going to come over to the left side of my screen here to do the fifth one. I should have started over here, but I didn't. So for the fifth one, we're going to start with 28, and then we're going to add the fifth 7. If I quickly look at 8 plus 7, I know that that's going to be more than 10, so I'm going to break the 7 into 2 parts. What do I need to add to the 8 that's going to get me up to a 10? Well, that is a 2. And so 2 from 7 is going to mean the other part is a 5. So now I repeat, the 28 plus the 2 is going to equal 30. Take that 30 and add the remainder of 5, and that will get me 35. So my fifth 7 is actually 35. And now we only have one more to go. And so one more time, I'm going to repeat the process. Take my previous number, which is 35. I'm going to add a 7. And I quickly see that 7 plus 5 is going to be more than 10. So I will break the 7 down into 2 parts. And what do I add to 5 to make the next 10? That is 5, which means my second part is a 2, because 5 plus 2 is the 7. I will do my addition. 35 plus 5 is quickly a 40. And then that 40 plus a simple digit like 2 is going to be 42. And so my fourth 7 is 42. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. And so again, that's just the simple strategy of using number bonds to break apart your numbers so that you can use them easily when you're adding and skip counting and so forth. All right, so let's just take one quick look at the exit ticket for lesson 5. If you see here, the exit ticket simply wants students to complete the count by 7 sequence below, then write a multiplication equation and a division equation to represent each number in the sequence. So we're going to have to write a multiplication and a division equation after we count by 7s. So you have the sequence here. You can see it starts with 7, 14, then blank, then 28, then blank, then 42, blank, blank, 63, and blank. We need to first fill in these numbers by skip counting. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how you get those numbers as long as you know them. You can use the strategy we just learned in this lesson, or if you have them memorized by now from that lesson, fill them in. Well, I know that it's 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, and then 70. All right, so we're going to look at that. Now, A through J, you have multiplication equations, and then you have divisions that go with them. So for A, we have blank times 7 equals blank. We're going to, let's see, that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's going to be 1 for each of the numbers in our sequence here. So the first one is going to be 7. What times 7 equals 7? 1. 1 7 is 7. And on the division side, we're going to take this multiplication and turn it to a division equation. So just do it in reverse. 7 divided by 7 equals 1. Okay. Let's do one more. We have 14. So you know the product's going to be 14 here. What times 7 equals 14? That's 2, because it's the second 7. Bring this over to division. Just write it in reverse. You've got 14 divided by 7 equals 2. And then one more. We see the product is going to be the third 7, which is 21. And since it is the third one, that's 3 times 7 equals 21. Reverse it for division. We have 21 divided by the 7 equals 3. And just simply complete that sequence, that process, until they are all completed. And that is lesson 5 of module 3 for